Hello, friends. Welcome to Four Friends in a Book, where we gather around each week and talk about the books that we've read and how they've potentially changed our views on the genres, the characters, and the stories that we've been reading. Welcome to Four Bookish Friends. And I'm so happy to see everybody. It's been a hot minute. This week, we are talking about the world of political satire and books that emerge. And I'm going to lead it off with my friend to my left and the love of my life, Princess Fancy Pants.
It's fancy.
Hi, I'm Teresa.
And
Delighted to be
for
here.
those,
I'm glad to see you guys for sure.
for those watching, I would like to note that Teresa's actual name was on there. She asked that it be changed, so we got to choose what it would be changed to. So welcome, Your Highness, Princess Fancy Pants.
I should be careful what I wish for, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm going to throw it to you, Joe.
Hi there. I'm Joe. I am Joe. I am this Joe, Patchouli Joe's.
Yes, you
And
are.
my lovely wife has chosen to be in a different room because we're technically, well, not we, I am technically incompetent.
Nope.
So we're doing our podcast. We're distributing the participants today. So we're all in 4 separate rooms.
We are.
I think it works.
Yes.
My lovely wife, Diane, how are you, my love?
I am great. And
We
so
have-
happy to be back in book conversation
100%.
Yay.
with our friends.
Yeah. Anything new with you guys other than school and work and all that crazy crud?
No, nothing really of import. We've been it's puppy palooza, and but it's good. It's good.
Getting into puppy started. Looks like
Oh,
Mr. Fancy Pants disagrees with you there, Princess.
No, I do not disagree. It's an amazing experience to have all this love, and it's just a big ball of fur that rolls through our house like a tumbleweed in the desert.
Are you talking about the puppy?
All of them.
Oh, okay. All right.
So the 2 puppies, Bonnie, our daughter's dachshund, and then our puppy, Lilith Bear, literally rolled in a mass of fur from the time that Bonnie arrives when our daughter drops her off until she is picked up about 4:30 or so every afternoon. And after they're gone, and you can't see it from Princess Fancy Pants perspective, but literally Lily will lay out in a long line of dappleness and sheer exhaustion and just pass out. I'm assuming that's what she's doing right now.
Oh, she's asleep. She has a bone by her head. She's very happy.
Yeah, she's in puppy heaven. And that's all, like, throughout the day, she and her cousin Bonnie are torturing Lily's brother Bert, crawling inside of his mouth, like grabbing onto his jowls and just like finding any bit of detritus they can, which is just so much fun.
Sure.
And then Puppy Bear, the older Dachshund, the queen of our eye, pretty much lays down the law and not picks on, but is learning how to play for the first time in her life with a miniature version of her. And Lily gives as good as she gets, but she gets a little overwhelmed sometimes because Puppy's a little bit rough. So
did I tell you my Lilith Fair story or my Lilith Fair convention?
No.
It was probably a month ago, probably about that. It's been recently, very, very recently, when I realized that Lilith Fair was not a person.
Oh.
They're pulling
I
my
know.
ally card, I'm pretty sure.
Joe, I have to tell you, though, I forgot to tell you this, that Lily came to the bookstore with David and Teresa on Indie Bookstore Day. I mean, on an Indie Book Fair.
Yeah, Indie Author Festival.
Yeah, there you go. Indie Author Festival. Teresa had her in a little pouch. She did the cutest little puppy.
She's adorable.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
She is hell on wheels, but she is adorable. I mean, she thinks...
I was going to go hell on wheels because I was trying to be appropriate. This was now no longer a G-rated segment. So sorry, shit, guys. I mean,
I think it's reasonably certain that we're never going to make it through an hour's worth of conversation without me saying something inappropriate for those under the age of 18.
it's fair. It's a fair comment.
Same with David.
That's me. Well, I'm sad I missed Lily.
Yeah.
I'll bring her up again. She needs to be socialized a little bit because she is in her own little bubble of, people and animals who adore her, and she needs to get out more.
She needs to face the cold, hard world.
100%. Go get a job, Lily.
Yeah.
Wow.
When she wakes up for her nap, that's what I'm going to tell her.
Get a job.
Job, dog.
School or the military. Do it.
She's adorable. I mean, so cute.
Well, I
She
can't wait
is
to meet her.
so cute.
All right, so we are talking political satire today. This was a topic that I chose, and to be honest, it's far more broad than I think I would have. In hindsight, it's not really. It's just when I first thought of it, I thought of very specific books, like American Hero by Larry Beinhart, from which the book Wag the Dog was made, or from which the movie Wag the Dog was made, about about Desert Storm being a film, they hired a Hollywood director to create this war film that would be passed off as reality broadcast over the news, in order for George H.W. Bush to be elected to a second term. That was the concept of the political satire behind that story. And I know Diane and I were talking earlier, and she had a question about satire. Did you want to bring that up?
Yes, my question was, I've always assumed that satire was meant to be funny. And so when I was looking for political satire books, the suggestions that were given to me were not necessarily books I found funny. And so I asked Joe, I was like, so that's my understanding, is that satire is supposed to be funny. So then he investigated, and which he had, because it's Joe, he had already investigated that question before I even asked it to him. So
generally, satire is meant to be humorous, but the real purpose of satire is constructive, or, well, social criticism, and the whether or not it's constructive is in the eye of the reader. But really, it's a criticism, it's a critique, it's a spin on a social issue or social issues, and you'll understand why I made that distinction when you hear the book I talked about, or that I brought to the table. But it's really a criticism of society, but told in such a way that it may not be felt as direct an attack as it might otherwise be. For example, 1984 is considered to be political satire.
Right.
Animal Farm, very specific period of the Cold War, and the leaders and the animals and all that. Political satire, those are a little kind of easier to see, not necessarily humorous, but they're poking at social situations. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
yeah. Does.
Yeah. So that's where we're at. And I know David, being a political scientist and government wizard, will probably have, I'm looking forward to hearing your insight on this topic, because again, so much of political satire is, or satire in general, is based on social issues or political issues, which may be addressed otherwise. So, yeah, so that's what I mean by political satire. Where it was a little surprising to me was how broad it is in terms of what not what is considered satire, but what would be considered political. And the book that I chose to sort of illustrate this this concept is Bonfire, the Vanities by Thomas Wolfe. Tom Wolfe. I read this a long time ago. It came out in the 80s, and it's set about this successful and wealthy white bond trader who works on Wall Street, lives in Park Avenue apartment, has a wife and a daughter, and a mistress. The story is he is on his way home from a dalliance with his mistress. They see a tire in the road. He stops to move the tire. He is approached by two young African-American young men. He attacks them with the tire, throws the tire at him. The mistress jumps in the driver's seat. He jumps in the car. They take off. He hits one of the kids. Kid goes to the hospital, diagnosed just sprained ankle or something minor, but then he falls into a coma later in the book, and without spoiling, but it's an old book. So anyway, he ends up dying. So that's sort of setting the tone, and much of the main character's reaction, Sherman McCoy is his name, and the movie was horrible. There was a movie with Tom Hanks playing Sherman McCoy, and I hated it, particularly because I know Tom Hanks.
You-
I know. How do you hate
Yeah,
Tom Hanks?
I'm sorry. I have to throw. What is it? A yellow card? Is that what it is? Red card.
Red
Thank
card.
you.
Red card.
Throw on it.
Well,
But
ejection. Are you ejecting me, or just
Okay,
as a
what is
warning?
yellow then? Is a yellow a warning?
Yellow card is a warning. Red card is an expulsion.
Yellow card.
But I want to say, I think it's because of how we perceive of Tom Hanks. Like he is the 100% American apple pie, like the kid that you want your daughter to date. Yeah, like I think of Tom Hanks and I think of all that is good and right in the world. And so to reference that movie, which we should never reference.
Yeah. Have you seen the movie?
I started to watch the movie, but I DNF'd it because it was terrible.
I get it. Yep.
So, but it's Melanie Griffith that I couldn't stand. It wasn't Tom Hanks.
Yeah. The reason, and to be fair, Tom Hanks' portrayal of Sherman McCoy in that movie was caricaturish, really sort of played it up, which is one of the sort of fundamental or one of the key elements of satire in general is using caricatures as opposed to true characters. I just thought it was overacted, and it was very I wasn't a fan of his portrayal or his performance in that movie. The movie itself, there were so many complex issues that just didn't translate well to the screen. Anyway, Sherman
Can I
McCoy.
jump in with a Tom Hanks thing real quick? Just
Yeah.
because it fits. But I just listened to The Dutch House by Ann Patchett, and it was read by Tom Hanks the whole way through, and I was so damn tired of his voice, I couldn't stand it by the end. And I don't know if it was because of the book or because of his voice, but I was like, and I love Tom Hanks. I'm with y'all. I love him, but oh my God, I was like, oh, please stop talking to me now.
I liked it.
Another
I
yellow
liked the
card.
Dutch House with his narration.
Did you? Yeah.
So we're discovering that Tom Hanks, while having this all-American kid, great guy image, is far more divisive than people would like to.
Apparently.
You
Yeah.
take back your words about Forrest Gump, sir. You take them back now.
Love Forrest Gump.
Forrest was brilliant.
Yeah.
Anyway, the reason that Sherman McCoy in the book reacted the way that he did is because these were black youths. These were black kids. If they had been white kids, he wouldn't have reacted. So from the beginning of the book, there is an underpinning of racial biases and stereotypes based purely in ignorance. And that's really one of the fundamental criticisms or one of the fundamental social critiques that the book is making. Is this because of they lived in Manhattan, they had gotten off, they'd gotten off the freeway and were in the wrong part of New York. And it was a largely African-American community. So they were freaking out anyway, simply because they were in a neighborhood different than theirs. Again, this is the New York City in the 80s, just kind of coming out of the horribly high crime New York City of the 70s. And anyway, then the story continues to kind of snowball, and the other social critique that, again, is a political critique. I consider those social critiques as political. Everyone has an agenda. There's a Jewish district attorney. There is an African-American social presence, kind of like Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton, more like Al Sharpton, really, who's and each of these people, the Sherman and Maria, his mistress, he tries to sell her out. He wears a wire to a conversation, and she gets mad. So she goes to the police and says, yeah, he was driving. I don't know what he's talking about. Throws him under the bus. So everybody has their own agenda in this story. So it's sort of that self-focused world that was the 80s. The racial preconceptions and prejudgments that people make against various other people in society, the others. I just thought it was a really, really good look at and a not really tongue in cheek, more poking in the eye of these social situations and social circumstances that the book was attacking. Like I said, it wasn't tongue in cheek. There was humor. It was very dark humor. Tom Wolfe is lovely. But it was more poking in the eye, the people of white privilege living in Manhattan and this district attorney. There was a drunken newspaper reporter who was trying to save his career, so he wrote this whole morality play in his reporting the story. The district attorney who's trying to make a name for himself, was a tough guy, and all these things I just thought was a really fun for me as an outsider. Not part of that group. Being able to see sort of the poke in the eye and take a step back and say, well, where is my privilege and where am I biased? And it was kind of one of the earliest looks at that. So that's why I'm a big fan of it. Obviously I've got other political satire books like Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail by Hunter S. Thompson, who sort of by design or by his own existence was satire. Just his persona was satirical. So yeah, that's and then of course all the classic political books. 1984. Yes, that was for you, Teresa. 1984, Animal Farm. Catch-22 was another one. Mocking the military-industrial complex, same as Slaughterhouse-Five. So yeah, sort of allegorical, I think, is I think of political satire. I think more of their allegories. They're telling a story when really that's not the story they're telling. It's more reflective of a broader thing. So anyway, that's my introduction of the topic. Any thoughts, comments, books? Anybody else dislike political satire? Dislike satire in general? And if so, why do you hate Jon Stewart?
Who wants to go next?
Oh, I think Princess Fancy Pants put her paw up.
Okay. Let me start by saying I enjoyed the synopsis that you shared and the perspective you shared of that book. When I was looking for a book for this week, I was thinking the very narrow idea of it's got to have politics. It's got to have like a real close tie. And so I was going to do 1984, which I reread a few years back. And I mentioned it to David, and he said, oh, no, I didn't even mention that. David said, you've read political satire. And I said, I have. And I thought he was talking about 1984. And he reminded me that one of my favorite books is actually a political satire. And I really was blown over when he reminded me, or he shared with me, that really that fits in this box. Oh, thank you. You're going to show it.
What's the book?
Yellowface?
There you go.
Ah,
Honestly, thank you. Thank you for that. Honestly, an amazing book. Such a great story and so many lessons that I took away from it. The premise is that there is a successful author who is, I believe she's Asian American. I want to make sure that the American part is correct and I'm not misidentifying the person. But she dies in a freak accident with a pancake. Just saying. And her friend, I wouldn't even call her a friend from the past, happens to be there at the same time, and she is an author as well. And but she's not a successful author. And she is Caucasian. But when she is there, she finds, before the paramedics come, she finds a manuscript that is
oh,
completed, and she takes it. And then she changes her name, her pen name, to, let's see, Juniper Song. And she starts successfully publishing under that name. And she determines that, she has, first of all, I mean, there are so many layers to it because, I mean, she's a poser. She is just
yeah.
like the worst. And cultural appropriation. Yes.
I just want to give street cred and props to the fact that you use poser correctly in the discussion of a political satire. Because honestly, Princess Fancy Pants, like that term alone, in the context that you used it, chef's kiss, because a lot of our political officials today are, in your words, posers.
This
Thank you.
is going to get
Oh,
us some street cred. This podcast is going to blow up with the OG kids.
I think
yeah.
I'm being made fun of now. And that's okay. I'm okay with that.
No,
No.
Okay. Racism, obviously, and the ways in which publishers work. And you guys probably know so much more about the ins and outs of that. But the publishing industry is really dug into and examined in this book. And it was fascinating. That part was incredibly fascinating to me because I don't know much about it. But this is such a good, incredible, readable book that I think that everyone should read. That's why David has it, because usually I just get rid of my books when I'm finished with them. But this was one that we talked about and he's got on his shelf to read. But wow, such a powerful message. And she's such a talented author. And I have to own the fact that I have not yet read let's see. What is her really chunky book? I'm looking.
RF. What?
Yes.
Um.
I should know this.
The Poppy
No.
War.
The Dragon Republic, The Burning God, Babel of Necessity of Violence.
Babel.
Oh, she wrote
Yes, and I
Babel.
started
Babel.
Babel.
Okay.
I need to go back to it someday. It didn't capture me like this book, but man, this is a good book.
I find it interesting that you kind of had the same experience that I did, where I had a preconceived notion of what would be considered political satire. But as you start thinking more broadly about what is politics, and then literally the title of the podcast, our political podcast we did, Circle the Wagons, was Everything is Political. So if you sort of take a more broad view of what is political, you can start seeing the satire in multiple different things that I would have thought of different genres. Anyway, I just thought it interesting. You had kind of the same experience I
Well,
did.
I credit David with that choice of book because I would not have put that in that box. But now it makes
Yeah.
complete sense to me, and it seems like a very readable
It's a
genre.
winner. Nice. It is, and it's, to be honest, it's a lot of fun because of sort of the breadth of it, or how what I would consider to be within that genre. And the satire piece itself is, because it's, to Diane's point, generally got humorous elements, or at least sarcasm or sarcastic elements, which I know, surprised I like that. Yeah, I think it's just a fun genre. So anyway, interesting that you sort of had the same perception of it that I did.
Yeah. Yeah. And it made me think of a book.
What you got?
I did not have one. Yeah, I just
Is it?
No,
Is
it
it?
is not. It
Okay.
is not the Briar Club.
All right.
No, just when you were talking, and my thought was first just to talk about a specific author, which is not what I'm going to talk about now. The book that it made me think of is Our Missing Hearts, or Our Missing Heart. I think it's just Heart, by Celeste
Oh,
Ng. And I am thinking that is a political satire because it's about the they, where the Chinese Americans become the they. They are the ones to be afraid of. They are the ones being arrested on the streets. And yeah. And I
Interesting.
loved it. I know. I don't think you didn't love it. Did you, Teresa? Or did you read
I'm
it?
trying to think. I'll look it up and see if I read it. Okay. Tell me the
Yeah.
name again.
Our Missing
Okay.
Heart.
You guys chat and I'll
Plural.
look.
It's with an S.
Yeah.
Hearts. Our Missing
It's
Heart.
Celeste Ng.
Celeste Ng. NG is
Okay.
her last name.
Let me ask you this, and then I'll shut up. Would you consider, because this is a near future dystopian, yeah?
Yeah.
Would you consider all near future dystopian or all dystopian novels to be political? Not necessarily satire, but are they all political?
Political. Most that I've read are political. Now, are they political satire? I don't
David's shaking
know.
his head hard. Why not, David?
Yeah, why, David?
Because not everything in the context of dystopian has to be political. Like, it could be a catastrophe that happened because of environmental or extraterrestrial or what have you. So we have to be careful, right? So you have oh gosh, I don't know if it's based on a book, but the movie with I can't, where the world delves into the deep freeze, like tomorrow.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name of it, but and everybody has to move south to Mexico, and they relocate the American government to the Mexican countryside. But it's not political because of anything that happened. It's a climate change event, but it just happened to be, I mean, which is also a big topic. Don't get me wrong, but
Right.
there's nothing we could have done to change it because there was also environmental factors involved as well. So if we're talking about something like Man in the High Castle, that's completely different, right? That's more political in nature because you're looking at it from the perspective of the Nazis won, and everything about what becomes of America is based on the Axis powers winning instead of the Allies. So I think it depends on what type of dystopian novel. But I'm not a literary expert. I mean, that's more up Princess Fancy Pants aisle than mine.
No, I was gonna. What
and
do you
you
think
guys.
about The Stand?
But is The Stand political, or was it a biohazard that got out because we didn't take care of the things that we are
But
developing? Right? That's nothing to do with politics.
But the after
Oh,
effects,
or is it?
you have to make a new society. Isn't that slightly political?
Interesting.
But I think of political satire as being the root cause of the dystopia.
Satire. I wouldn't necessarily consider these satire, but yeah, are they political? And yeah, Stand is a good question, just for the mishandling of the toxins, but also the reforming of a society.
It's such a
or
good book.
societies.
Oh,
But from my perspective, is the politics the root cause that led to dystopia, or is it the end result because of the dystopian situation?
so kind of a tomato.
Anyway, sorry, I did.
Well, a little bit. I mean, so we are hunter-gatherers slash like communal people. Like we do not function well in a vacuum. So we seek out community in order to thrive. And that's the only way we can see success being had. There's a really good book that I read in my comparative politics course, and it's about the groundnut of Africa. And societies develop around a source or a resource that can build sustainability. And so all these, what you think of nomadic peoples, become um, not hunter gatherers, but become like stationary figures and stationary organizations and groups, because they found a source that they didn't have to go hunt and peck for. They could just farm it right there where they were at, and they built community, city, county, town as we know it in America, kind of thing. And so it grew from an individual to a city, to a county, to a state, to a nation. And that's not always the case, but I think we have to look at where it begins and where it ends.
So
So-
not your point is not all to say, and I'm sorry, Diane, I didn't mean to derail what you were
I
saying.
didn't either.
Well, and now with this discussion, it makes me wonder if my book, because it is dystopian, maybe isn't political satire. Maybe political satire needs to be based on how things really are happening in the current time. So here was my other choice for a
Hey.
political satire, which I
Yeah,
think
so-
would fit better.
Real quick, are you saying then that by that definition, near future dystopian cannot be political satire because it's set in the future?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Interesting.
And
Well,
here's my reasoning. Because both of your books were set in a modern time, in the real era. It was a look at the unjustness of what really is happening. And so here was my other book, which I think makes more sense and fits in with that. And that is Slaughterhouse-Five.
yeah.
Kurt Vonnegut and his telling of the bombing of Dresden.
Mm.
And it being told in a humorous manner, sort of, but with the devastation that happened. And what Kurt Vonnegut is his own way, like I just listen to it for the entertainment. He's such an entertaining storyteller. But it made me go look up the bombing of Dresden, and then to find out, oh my God, this is what happened. So I'm wondering, and Joe, are you looking that up? I'm wondering with political satire if it isn't more a reflection of something that really truly happened.
Yeah, I think that's a good distinction. No, I was actually looking at Kurt
Another book.
Vonnegut narrating Slaughterhouse-Five to me was brilliant because, and so it goes.
Oh, and so it goes. Yeah.
That line was, you hear the exasperation and the despair literally in the voice, in the words of the author who wrote it in his
Yeah.
voice. Anyway, yeah.
Then I have
But I like,
what I think is probably going to be an unpopular opinion. Would 1984 really be political satire? Because those things were going to happen in the future. They had not yet happened. And then Diane,
I think now it's political
but when,
satire.
I mean, is it? But I mean, some of these dystopian novels,
know.
that may,
That's true.
50 years from now, those may be more realistic. I don't know. Just going to throw that out. And then Diane, I gave your first book of 4 stars. So I did like it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah.
I think that's a really good distinction, Diane, the if it hasn't happened yet, it's not really political satire. It can be an opinion about the way things might be in the future, or like Octavia Butler with
Right.
Parable of the Sower. Not so much satire as it was near future dystopian, but can you even be satirical if you're not critiquing a social structure that exists?
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
So I was going to say, I mean, I pulled it. So I asked the question, like I Googled it because of course there's always going to be that guy or person. And a researcher from a university wrote a piece called 1984 in the Tradition of Satire. And the argument was in 1949, when 1984 was published, right? It was a satirization of totalitarianism. So it is
Okay.
a political satire, but not as we would perceive it. However, he cautions, or they caution and say, it's not truly a political satire as we think of it. It was more a societal or social satire because of the way these norms in totalitarian countries or states operate. And so they argued it was more social satire versus political satire.
Okay. Thank you
Interesting.
for looking that up, Google.
And I want to give credit where credit is due. This is from Jonathan Greenberg, published in Oxford University Press, or excuse me, Cambridge University Press, and it's called 1984 in the Tradition of Satire. So, yeah.
When you look up political satire books, the first three or the first two are Animal Farm and 1984.
Yep.
To me, using sort of Diane's
Brilliant theory.
100%.
yeah, it really is. It is brilliant. 1984 isn't. Animal Farm is, because it was critiquing or providing a satire of the political situation that existed at that time. Princess Fancy Pants, you look like you were ready to jump
No,
on me.
I
So
agree
jump
with
on that
you.
one.
I still don't like it. I don't like the book.
Don't like
Oh,
Animal,
Oh, no.
1984.
Animal Farm.
Animal Farm.
Oh,
Yeah.
Animal Farm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't reread it.
We talked about that on the political podcast last week, and for the first time when I read that book, and the first time I read it was 7th grade, and I've read it probably 6 or 8 times over the years. For the first time, this most recent reading of it, it felt really dated. And I think it was because it was a snapshot in time, with the pigs representing specific characters in history, with the Cold War now fundamentally behind that Cold War behind us, and the post World War II to the fall of the Soviet Union, sort of that it feels dated now to me, or at least frozen in time.
I want to invite you to think differently about Animal Farm.
Bring it.
So, what if the animals aren't figures in time of the World War II era? What if they are actually classes and groups as we would identify them today?
Like archetypal characters or more broad groups of people?
So more broad groups of people. So what if the horses are the working class?
Okay.
Okay. The pigs are the intellectuals. Kind of with me so far.
It's hanging on by a thread, but yeah.
The sheep are the mass propaganda, like the people we're targeting, right? So you've got the pigs who are going to be up there saying, this is what's happening. This is why I can fix it.
Are they
And
the
sheep?
Are they the intellectual class, or are they the elite privileged class? The pig.
Well, intellectual / elite. And
yeah.
so,
Well, I think that there are elite pigs today that
okay,
are certainly not intellectual.
I do not disagree with you, but just let's say the elite class,
Okay,
as opposed to intellectual people.
Yeah, I think.
And then lastly, you have the donkey. Okay.
Okay.
What if the donkey are the people like me who are intellectual and aren't taking the opportunity to do something to fix the system? So you've got the average people who think nothing's going to get better, the horses. You've got the people, the pigs,
Who are
who are telling
manipulating the
you
whole machine for their own gain.
who are telling you what's wrong and how everybody's out to get you, and all we're going to do is make it better because if you elect us, we are going to be the ones that can solve this issue.
Okay. So I'm a
The
pig.
sheep are the ones that buy that bullshit story.
I'm a pig because I'm running for office.
No, you misunderstand, right?
Yeah.
The sheep are the ones that are buying this bullshit story, and the donkeys, me, are the ones that aren't they're just saying, oh, it's never going to happen because at no point in God's green earth will we ever elect that jackass. Donald Trump as the pig. The working class horses are his Republican followers, and the sheep are the MAGA supporters who believe in him. No matter what they know and see in front of them, they're going to support him no matter what. And the academics who said it would never happen are the ones that are like, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to sit here until it's over.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't disagree. I know that sort of traditionally Animal Farm characters are very tied to leaders, but yeah, taking a more broad view of them as classes. I get that. Would it be considered satire though?
It would when you think about it, right? Because
Or is it
here's
more
the key.
allegorical? I absolutely agree with that, but
Here's the thing, right? And I went back and I looked at the how do I say it? All the commandments, right? Or the rules.
Mhm.
Whatever goes upon two legs is an enemy, right? What's the first rule to go?
Two legs enemy.
So all the things that we believed when Donald Trump got elected, and I'm just calling it out for what it is, right? So everything he said that he was going to do or accomplish or make possible, it's out the window,
Done.
right? And no matter what, he said, and he ran in 2024 on the idea that we're going to release the Epstein files. You have the right to know. And bam, as soon as his name pops up, how many thousands of times? Oh, we can't release the documents because we got to make sure that we're not infringing on the victim's rights.
Yeah.
And they buy that hook, line, and sinker. I'm not going to go to war anymore because it's all about America first. Where the hell are we right now?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So it's not just allegorical, it's satirical because everything that we thought we knew or everything that we thought we were about is wrong. It's
Well,
completely wrong.
I think our world today is absolutely satire.
And
Just
that's the whole thing. Like,
I would categorize. I question whether that's satire.
and I really didn't want to talk about it from the standpoint. So here was my original intent. I was going to dig out of my memory the America by John Stewart book.
Yep.
Right. America, let me make sure I have the citation correct. America, the book, A Citizen's Guide to Democracy in Action.
Yep.
Because I love that book. Like I owned it. I loved it. I read it. It felt, it looked, it was a textbook. And I don't know what I've done with it. I have somehow, some way disposed of it in one of my many moves. And so I was like, I'm not going to cheat the system. So I've been reading Animal Farm, and I have stayed up late the last couple of nights. I mean, not really late because I go to sleep as soon as my head hits the pillow, but I get up super early and I start reading. And the more I read, the more angry I became because literally Orwell wrote this book and it's come to fruition.
Yeah.
And I always remember that line, not the devil, but those that have failed to read or understand history are doomed to repeat it.
Right.
And that's what Animal Farm is for me. Like it is the historical perspective of what was seen during World War II that we couldn't publish because those are our allies against the Nazis and the Axis powers. But now it's come to fruition. It's come to roost in America. And the satire is now the reality.
Yeah, is it satire when how close does it have to be to reality and painful before it's no longer satire? Now it just stings.
And
that's
I'm
rhetorical. I'm not looking for an answer. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm as dark a humor person as you can get. But I was like, damn. Like there's no way to find any kind of shining light on this.
One of my favorite book titles, in researching this, I was reminded, I Am America and So Can You by Stephen Colbert, which
I looked at getting that book as well. I was like, should I read that
it's
instead?
just a great title.
Yeah.
And then obviously his entire persona has, when he was on following the Daily Show, the Colbert Report, was his entire image, or that character was satire. So anyway.
I do want to say, I want to give some credit for a couple things. So number one, when I talked earlier about the groundnut, that was from a book that was published by Kathy Boone, a former professor at UT Austin, and now she's at the London School of Economics. And that book was called Merchant Capital and the Roots of State Power in Senegal, 1930 to 1985. Number one.
This is, I'm assuming, a nonfiction.
Nonfiction, but it talks about how we develop.
I fell asleep as you were just saying the title.
No, it's fine. And then the second book she wrote was Political Topographies of the African State, Rural Authority, Institutional Choice. So it's all about the ground. I know, see, it's killing people, but it's political in terms of how societies develop based on resource allocation.
All right, let me throw this at you. My contention is nonfiction cannot be satire.
Yeah.
Fight me,
No,
Teresa.
I'm not going to fight you on that. I'm going to say there might be an opinion piece in a nonfiction book, but I agree with you. Okay, the date is March 24th. I agree with you, Joe.
I am putting this in the episode summary. Teresa agreed with Joe.
Absolutely.
Princess Fancy Pants agreed with Joe.
Yeah, nonfiction cannot be satire. Diane, what is your vote on this?
Oh, I agree completely. I
disagree.
I agree. There can be opinions, but it's not nonfiction if it's satire.
I 100%, 75% of us say that we're right.
Okay, going back to the Jon Stewart book, A Citizen's Guide to Democracy in Action, and that's not democracy, 2 words, in action. It's democracy in action, like not taking action.
In action, okay.
In the book. The title of the book is almost satirical. So
well,
Go ahead.
That's
Diane.
hard when it's like Jon Stewart giving his opinion, because it's not really a fiction book.
Yeah, isn't his whole sort of show is what he does? Isn't that all satire, or is it just embittered person?
I think you're playing both
David has his
sides.
hand
You
up.
just said that nonfiction can't be.
No, I'm just.
And now you're saying it is.
I don't think it is. No, I'm exploring the idea. I'm not saying it is, but he is viewed as a satirist, but it's almost like, you see what he's done for the 9/11 firefighters and first responders and battling for their health, healthcare and so on. But it's almost like his satire or his show is a scream for help. He's like, hey, this is banana shit. Come look at this. This is nuts. So is that satire, or what is that, David? What do you think?
Well, so are we saying nonfiction? You cannot be nonfiction and satire, or nonfiction and political satire?
Nonfiction and satire.
Okay.
Let's start there.
Yes. So you can be. Think of nonfiction, so any autobiography or biography, and think of works by David Sedaris, Tina Fey, Bossy Pants.
Well, let's go with Tina Fey's Bossy Pants.
But
Diane,
that wasn't really satirical.
That was more. It was autobiographical.
It was just humorous autobiography.
It actually, when I pulled it up, it said nonfiction satire prominent example.
I believe everything you read on the internet. You're talking educated, intelligent.
Have you read it, David?
You're just
no, thankfully, I would never read Tina Fey.
I love her. It is a very good book.
I laughed out loud.
Choices. Yes. I mean, Tom Hanks, my hero. I mean,
okay, it really is a good book, but I think that it's just humorous as well. Maybe there's some sarcasm, but not satire. So whatever site you're looking at, close that out and find a different.
I'm sorry, Goodreads, you're voted off the
You're not
island.
looking at
Goodreads, wait a minute,
Goodreads.
wait a minute. So
Owned by Amazon.
you're supporting Amazon during this podcast?
Only from the perspective of I Googled it and it popped up. I also want to say nonfiction and political satire, Fear and Loathing on the Campaign Trail by one Hunter S.
Hunter S.
Thompson.
That's actually a book that I pulled up. It is that is
Okay. Well,
his entire.
Did you believe everything you read on the internet, Joe?
No, but I believed everything I read in that book. So it was written sarcastically. That's a good question. That's actually a good example. Is his gonzo journalism satire? Because Stewart is basically a much more Stewart you could take home to your grandmother. Hunter S. Thompson you wouldn't want near your grandmother. But aren't they kind of the same thing? They're telling the news their own sort of from their own perspective, but is it satire?
and why do I think satire's lying where it's not necessarily? It's not storytelling. It's not. So maybe nonfiction can be.
It
Ooh,
feels
I
like
got a really good one.
satire is taking liberties. Okay, I'm sorry, David.
No. How about Machiavelli's The Prince?
Is that satire or yeah, that's a good one. There was another one, The Prince, and there was another one that was that's been considered a leadership. Now maybe it was The Prince I'm thinking of, but there are others who look at it and say, yeah, it was written as satire, making fun of the era.
I should have read that one again. Oh, I love that book. Nerd.
Yeah, satire, according to Miriam and her friend Webster, wit, irony, or sarcasm used to expose and discredit vice or folly as of a person, government, or society. So, by that definition, it doesn't exclude nonfiction, but yeah.
Well, I'm convinced.
I do want to make one comment. I really appreciate Teresa putting the books in the comment section for us, except for her merging capital blah political topography.
It's only because the title was so long and you said it so quickly. I just couldn't keep up. It was not. It was just like so many words of a title. I'm sure it's a great book about the groundnut. I mean, I'm sure it is.
When I start talking,
I'm sure it's great.
Go ahead. When I start talking about politics, I love you. When I start talking about politics, Teresa looks at me and she's like, "Oh, blah blah blah."
Well, then to be fair, and maybe not nice, but to be fair, I probably won't include those in the episode summary. I know it has to sting a little bit, and oftentimes some of the books aren't available through Patchouli, Joe. So we're just going to say these textbooks or give me the one example. If it's available on Patchouli Joe's, I'll include it. The the blah 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 one.
Oh no, they're not available. You have to special order them from the publisher.
Okay.
Yeah, and I only reference it because I talked about her work, and that's the only reason I brought it up. But I do want to say, I mean, you guys at Patchouli Joe's do an amazing job of finding those books or seeking out those books that we come in wanting, and I really appreciate that fact. And I only use Goodreads. I don't want to say who they're from. I don't want to give them street cred because I'm like an amateur book guy. And once you guys get your book rating system online, where I can go out to the Patchouli Joe's and how many chickens does it get, then I'll be able to use that one. But until that time, I had to
Diane?
default to the internet.
Storygraph.
The Storygraph.
Storygraph.
That is the
That is
alternative to the Evil Empire.
Goodreads. And you can rate books with 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, which I love because sometimes it's not just a 4 or it's not just a 5 or a 3.
And I am a terrible book reader. And so I think that's why I mean, you guys, I've heard you guys talk about Storygraph. I'm like, you effing wrote a book and I read it. And so I think you deserve a 5.
Oh,
It could be the worst book of all time. Like, I don't know, what's that fourth wing? Like, I would give it 5 stars because she wrote a book, got
She
it
wrote a
published, and
damn book.
everybody was selling.
She wrote
Yeah.
a book that sold a lot of books.
100%. Like,
You know? Yeah, I get that.
kudos.
No, I'm that way too. I don't. A bad
just-
book gets a 4 for me.
Just for the record, I think if anyone here were to write a political satire book, I would offer as the title, Merging Capital Blah. I think one of us should write that book and use that title somehow. Teresa, I think
I
it
will
should be
pass
you.
on the job of tracking the books to somebody else.
No,
No,
No.
I did, it brought joy to my heart. I just wanted you to know that.
You just said it
bring
so
joy to my
fast.
heart.
I was like, oh, it was not a
It's
dig on
merchant
you, I
capital.
promise.
No, I didn't think it was.
that
It's
makes
just the way you said
merging-
it. I was like, oh my gosh.
that
I
makes
love you.
merging capital even better since it was merchant
It
capital.
was merchant capital.
And Merging Capital Blah. I'm going to write a book using that title.
Dr. Catherine Boone, merging capital blah. Thank you for your time.
By Dr. Teresa, Princess Fancy Pants.
Yeah.
That's Dr. Fancy Pants.
Dr. Fancy Pants to me.
I really appreciate, like, I want to tell you guys, I'm super excited about the future
too.
of Patchouli Joe's and where you guys are going. I'm also super glad you got to share that. I've been wondering, and I never want to ask because I know it brings a lot of stress talking about that kind of stuff. So I didn't want to add to that stress. So I'm super glad you guys got to share that with us. So I appreciate that.
We shared it before we started filming or recording, so just everybody knows we are moving 20 feet behind us.
Yeah. I've been saying that it was 50 yards behind our current store, but as I was looking at it today, I can throw a football from our back door to this place, so it's going to be less than 50 yards. It's probably 40 yards. So,
And they're hoping to get us open there in September.
Oh, that's amazing.
And there's
That's
a
awesome.
good possibility we don't have to move from our current location until we move 20 feet behind us. We're working on that. Fingers are crossed that
So you'll be
works
well
out,
positioned
so.
for holiday
we're-
season. We can do Yellow Book Club.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yep, and it will be. There's other businesses that are going to be sharing the building space with. We're excited, and mostly that we get to stick around.
We're
so,
grateful.
Charlie this is a good transition period. Charlie's taking over primary ownership of the store. He's making the decisions. We met with an architect today who's designing sort of where do you want plugs. Charlie said, oh, we only need one there. We can use 8 extension cords. Okay, he didn't say that. I was like, oh dear God, no. Every place you can think of to put a electrical outlet, put
Yeah.
2 there. And Charlie's like, well, no, we don't really need. I said, no, you don't want to compromise now. You want as many as you
Agreed.
can get. You'll never have to.
Yeah.
And while you're doing it, make sure they wire in some really good Ethernet cables.
We are wiring it. They're wiring in Ethernet, and they are wiring in an audio system that will play our music. And when we switch to doing poetry night or an author event, the microphone will come through the store.
That's amazing.
Isn't that lovely?
Good.
Yeah.
Will there be a panel on the wall or something you can jack into?
Yeah, I don't know exactly how they're going to do it, but the architect's working on it. They're designing the building to meet the specs of the other businesses, and they're meeting with us, and like they've got the cash wrap, and then the wall behind it is just shelves. So that little wooden box with the glass that we have where we stick, books that are new releases, and that blue cabinet back there that's overflowing with books that people have ordered. There will be an entire wall for that now.
There's only good things ahead.
And
yeah. Charlie's and he's getting to put his vision on it, which I think is wonderful. It's a perfect time. We're challenging everything from our website provider to the layout of the store and everything else. So, it's Patchouli Joe's 2.0. Keeping the shirt.
Awesome.
Not getting a 2.0 shirt. This is it.
What's our topic for next time in 2 weeks? I never can remember who's next and what topic is next.
I think you're up, Diane.
I was thinking it was. Is it the women one?
Oh, I think it
can't
might be.
remember.
Hold on. Oh, you chose political dystopian. Diane,
Me?
Oh, political again?
do you want to
Yeah,
switch?
we can change that.
Yeah,
Do you
let's
want to
change
switch
that.
to
Let's-
strong women, which is what you have in? Okay, so
Yes. And then I'll think
Okay.
of something else.
Okay.
Strong women characters.
Strong women characters. Let me make a note of that. And then I have another issue that needs an administrative issue. There is already a,
4 bookish friends.
well, it's just bookish friends. There is
Nerds.
not a 4 bookish friends. There's a podcast called Babes Babbling About Books. We don't need that name. But there is not a 4 bookish friends. There is a bookish friends. So do we want to go with lockdown 4
Sure.
bookish friends?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Otherwise, we're going to take forever
We
making
absolutely
a
are.
decision.
Okay. So do we want to be that closely aligned with somebody else, or do we want to be something else more fun, like 4 book nerds?
Book nerds.
Book nerd. Now let's take a look. I'm not opposed to book nerds.
No, me either.
I would guess that does not appear to be a book nerds podcast. Not gonna lie, I kind of like having it as one. There is a podcast called Book Nerds, all one word.
Jackasses.
Yeah. I
Okay,
know.
well, back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
4 bookish nerds.
Bookish nerds. How about them chicken and book lovers? Bookish nerds is not in there. We still, yeah, it's just that we get a chick.
Bookish nerd podcast.
Yeah,
There is one? Dear
Yep.
Okay.
Lord.
I know.
Ooh, let's be the dear lords.
How about
Let's
this?
see if there's
How
one
about
out
we
there.
table this because really this isn't the most interesting conversation.
To whom?
The people who are at the end of this podcast listening.
Yeah,
See,
you want to get
the-
off.
There is a dear lord podcast. I
People-
mean,
The people who've already shut this podcast
On that
off
note,
and
friends.
on with their lives. That's
Yeah,
an
let's say
excellent point.
goodbye.
Love you guys.
Yeah. Love you guys.
Love you
Bye.
guys.
See you.
Bye.
This is the Patchouli Podcast Network.